This video I'll be concentrating on station and yards. Along with that, the various equipments in station yards will also be discussed. The different types of railway stations and what are the factors and the requirements of a railway station, the classification of railway station, then the various facilities to be provided in a railway station. All this will be discussed in this video. So I'm welcoming you all to listen to my lecture. Railway station, it is the facility where the trains regularly stop to load or unload passengers or freight. A railway station is a selected place on a railway line where the train halts for one or more of the following purposes as discussed here. It is used for the exchange of passengers and goods. Also, the control of train movement is being done from the station or yard. It also enables a train which are moving on a single line track to cross from opposite direction. And if there is an express train which is following a goods train, then at the station one train can be stopped and we can give opportunity for the express train to overtake, and also for taking fuels and watering the locomotive. And again it can be used where the detaching of engines and also exchange of staffs are being done, and also it can be used for sorting of bogies to form new trains. So these are the various purposes of providing railway station in a railway line. Next, let us discuss about the various factors to be considered for selecting a site for railway station. So first and foremost thing is its proximity to town or nearby village. The station should be close to the town or villages as far as possible to facilitate the transport of passengers and goods. So it should be accessible, and for that there should be adequate number of approach roads to the station site. So it is highly essential to encourage rail transport by providing approach roads connecting a town or village to the station site. And again, when acquiring the land, we have to consider the future development also, the present requirement as well as the future development. So sufficient land area, including the land width for a single track or maybe in future double track system, should be accommodated. So keeping that in mind, we have to acquire the land initially, and then the provisions for the station buildings, platforms, cabins, staff quarters, and all other future extensions need to be kept in mind before acquiring the land in the beginning, because this is necessary from economic consideration, because once a land is acquired, the land value greatly increased due to the start of development on adjoining lands. So sometimes the acquisition at a later date becomes practically difficult besides being costly. Then next is the nature of land area. So when discussing about the gradient, we discussed about this factor. Like the maximum permissible gradient for all gauges in station yards is 1 in 400 with a desirable value of 1 in 1000. So the land area should preferably be a level ground for convenience and safety of marshalling and shunting wagons. So steep gradients may cause the wagons to move even when not in operation due to high wind velocity and may result in accidents. So we prefer to have a minimum gradient at the stations, and also we have to give consideration for the drainage purpose. So the site should have cube drainage facility, and the minimum gradient for that is 1 in 1000 is recommended in station yards for this purpose. Then next is regarding the station site alignment. The station site should never be located on curves, and as far as possible should not be near the curves also, because this causes difficulty in seeing the signals that are provided. Okay, so we always prefer to have the alignment of the track for both approaching and departing trains should be straight. So that is regarding the station site alignment. And again the station amenities, the amenities like water supply, fuel, electricity should be provided at the station site. A plentiful supply of drinkable water is essential. Then the type of station and yards, a station may be either a through type or terminal type station. So the shape of the plot to be acquired for station site will depend upon the location of station buildings, yards and other facilities at station site. Then the role of authorities also need to be discussed here. The civil and military authority should be consulted before the final selection of site is made. So this is necessary to execute the development scheme and for justification of railway profit. So these are the various factors to be considered in selecting site for the railway station. The requirements of a railway station. A railway station should satisfy the following basic requirements of the features. Like first one is the public requirement. So the station should provide all the facilities required by the public, such as booking office for tickets. So being a user, what all things you feel that should be available at a station? Yeah. So that you can write here, the public requirement. So there should be adequate provision for booking or tickets, then goods and passenger platforms with or without shed should be there, then proper arrangement for drinking water should be there, then there should be suitable lighting and ventilation systems, there should be waiting rooms and retiring rooms, then sanitary arrangements and bathroom facility should be there, then public telephone booth, refreshment rooms, telegraph office, inquiry office, etc. Like these are facilities are required. Then there should be microphones to announce arrival and departure time of train. Then there should be provision of big display boards for schedule of trains and changes, if any. Then there should be gates from railway department to help illiterate passengers. So this is from the public requirement side. Then considering the traffic staff and police requirements, a station should provide adequate facility for traffic staff and police as per their requirement to enable them to perform their duties in a best possible way. Proper arrangement such as staff rooms, retiring rooms, quarters, etc. for railway staff should be there. For the station master, ticket collector, there are so many people they are working there, like station master, ticket collectors there, night operators, engine drivers. So we should provide facility to accommodate all their needs. Then there is train requirement or the locomotive requirement, we can say. The various facilities for locomotive department should be provided, like proper arrangement for supply of fuel and water to locomotive, then arrangement for cleaning, examining, inspecting and maintaining the locomotive and sorting these wagons properly for the next train should be there. Then regarding the train requirements, various facilities like arrangement for controlling the movement of trains by means of signals, then arrangement for movements and recording of trains. Then there should be sufficient number of sidings for receiving, sorting, storing and departing of train should be provided. These are the train and locomotive requirements. Then we can say for the development of railway, many additional facilities are also required to be provided at the station for the proper development of railways, which include easy and comfortable approach roads to station without causing congestion in traffic. Then installation of clocks showing the correct time. Then if a person is new to the city, there should be some way to guide him. There should be separate boards for arrival and departure of trains with platform numbers. Then the availability of coolies on the platform. Then facilities like escalators, waiting halls, underground passage leading to important place of the city, restaurants. So these were the different features that we are expecting in a railway station. Next is the classification of railway stations. Stations can be classified according to its operational as well as functional characteristics. In Indian Railways, based on operational characteristics, the stations are classified basically into two. One is a block station, another one is a non-block station, and there is a third type which is known as the special class stations. So in the block station, when studying about the control of train movement, we discuss about the absolute block system. So the entire route can be divided into blocks. Okay. So the block section, which are sort of compartments in the railway line, and it is divided in such a way that to enhance the safe spacing between the trains. So the block stations are made at the end of each block section and are equipped with signals which demarcate the limit of the block section. So there are three types coming under that: class A, B and C. Let's consider class A. It's a station where the line has to be cleared up to an adequate distance of 400 meters beyond the home signal for giving permission to an approaching train. The minimum side signal requirements are: it should have a home signal and it should have a starter signal, and home signal should be associated with a 1L signal before that. Whereas when coming on to the B class station, where the line has to be cleared up to an adequate distance beyond the outer signal before giving permission to approach train. So in the class A, it has only home signal, whereas in class B, it has got home signal as well as outer signal. When moving on to C class stations, it's just a block hut where no passengers are booked. It is used as a means to split a long block session so that the interval between successive trains can be reduced. So there is home signal as well as Warner signal in the case of class C stations. Then there are non-block stations. They are also known as class D or flag stations, which are situated between two consecutive block stations. So they do not define the boundary of any block station. They are neither telegraphically connected to adjacent station nor have any apparatus or staff for controlling the movement of trains. Then there are special class stations which can be which are not covered under these sections: class A, B, C or D. So those are special class stations. So depending on the operational characteristics, this is how the stations are being divided or are being classified. Then based on the functional characteristics, the stations are classified as wayside stations, junctions and terminal stations. So let's see the details of each of this in the coming slides. Regarding the functional classification, there are three types. One is wayside station, junctions and terminal station. Now let's see about the wayside station. They are also known as non-junction stations. These stations consist of arrangement for crossing of trains as well as overtaking. Okay, so if some slower trains are there in front, then express trains need to cross them. Okay, so the one of the trains can be stopped there at the wayside station and can provide opportunity for the express train to overtake it. And at the same time, if it's only a single line route, both the trains coming from different directions need to overtake each other, so that can be made possible at the wayside station. There are different types coming under that. One is a halt station, flag stations and crossing stations. So let's see its details. Halt stations, they are small stations that are provided with very few facility. So in this figure you can see obviously a platform will be provided. Sometimes it can have a station buildings and sometimes it may not have. Okay. So it's a small station, usually unstaffed with few or no facility. In some cases, train stops only on request when passengers on the platform indicate that they wish to board, or if the passengers inside the train inform the crew that they wish to alight. So depending on demand, the train will be stopped in halt station. You can see one example here in Kerala at Karuvata. It's in the Alappuzha district near Haripad. So that is a halt station. It is one type of wayside station. Here you can see it has only a platform. So there is no station building here where these passengers can alight and board a train. So only platform will be here in the case of halt station. Sometimes it can have a station building also, but the thing is there won't be any point and crossing at the station. For example, if a siding is there, the train can be taken to that siding and stop there, but no such type of facility is provided in the case of halt station. Flag station describes a stopping point at which train stops only on need or on request basis. So this Like if some passengers they need to be picked up or dropped off, then the train will be stopping at this flag station. These stations usually don't have any overtaking or crossing facility, and also there won't be any control mechanism to control the movement of trains. But usually they have got the station building, so that's the main difference between the flag station as well as the halt station. Flag station, they will be having a building with minimum facilities, and these buildings have staff, they have telegraph facilities and other amenities required for the passengers. And some of the flag stations, sometimes they may have sidings also in the form of loop. Mayanad, it's an example of a flag station. It is in Kollam district. It's coming by the side of this double line track. That is why you can see two tracks, but there is no special provision for these loop or anything here. So that is regarding the flag station. Next is the crossing station. So as the name suggests, these facilities are provided for crossing, provided with facilities for crossing. So in this type, at least one loop is required so that one train can be taken to this loop. Generally, the train to be stopped is taken to this loop, and the through train which are not stopping in the station, so those trains are known as through trains. So through trains is allowed to pass on the main line, whereas the one need to be stopped, that will be taken through this loop, and they will be waiting here so that the other train can either overtake or cross them. So that is the crossing station. It's provided with the crossing facility. At least one loop should be provided. So here in this figure you can see there is the main line, and there are two loops leading to two passenger platforms, and there are station buildings also. That is regarding the crossing station. Example of crossing station, there is a through line and there are two sidings being provided with platforms. In case of wayside station on a double line track, one or two passenger platforms be provided depending upon the facilities that is required. So here you can see there is a passenger platform associated with the station building, and on the other side also there is an island platform. So island platforms, if a platform is completely surrounded by the tracks, they are known as island platforms. So here it is being completely covered by tracks on all the four sides. That is why it's known as an island platform. Then there will be trains running in both the direction. A crossover facility will be provided to facilitate the movement of train from one line to another. Then sometimes a refuge lane will also be provided for fast moving trains to overtake the slow moving trains in the same direction. Many other facilities like goods platform, a goods shed, station building, shunting track and sand humps, all these are provided. So here in this figure you can see there is up and down track which are running in opposite direction. So it's a double line track, and there are provisions for the trains that are coming in these tracks to be taken to the refuge line. If one coming from this direction, if the faster train coming from this direction need to overtake a slower train, the slower train can be taken to this refuge line and they can be stopped there. It is actually refuge, okay, refuge line, and can be stopped there, whereas the faster train coming behind that can overtake through the through line. So these are the facilities. So this is the layout of a crossing station on a double line. We are discussing the classification of railway stations based on the functional characteristics. So we have seen three classification. One is a wayside station, another one is a junction, and third one is a terminal station. We discussed about the wayside station. Under the wayside station, there are three types mainly. One is a halt station, another one is a flag station, and third one is a crossing station. And crossing station can be provided either in a single line route or on a double line route. That is regarding the wayside station. The next classification is junctions. The junction stations, they are usually provided when the lines from three or more directions meet. For example, if we consider Kollam, Kollam is considered to be a junction. It's called as Kollam Junction. Okay, so there the trains which are coming from Trivandrum side is can come there, and the trains from Ernakulam, Kottayam or Alappuzha side they can also be managed there, and the trains which are coming from the Pullur side they are also coming and finally stopping at the Kollam junction. So it's terminating at the Kollam junction. Okay, so that the facilities that need to be provided at a junction, it include facility for the interchange of traffic. That is, a person coming from the Pullur side, if he wants to go to the Kottayam side, so we must provide adequate facility for those passengers. Okay, so facilitate the interchange of passengers, facilities to clean and repair the compartments of the train, and also facilities for good sidings, engine sheds, turntable, etc. Like the trains which are coming from the Pullur side, they are coming and stopping here at, or terminating at Kollam. So if the next train again starts from Kollam only, so there should be adequate facility to clean and repair the compartments of the train. And if some goods trains are coming, there should be facility for the good sidings, engine sheds, turntable, etc. So that is regarding the junctions. Can you identify this station? This is our Kollam station or Kollam junction, and let's see the layout of this in detail. Note about this Kollam junction. Usually the junction, what are the facilities to be provided there? There will be a branch line or a main line which is coming and meeting with the main line, and then there will be a main line. It can be a single line or double line. So in this figure it is a single line one. So you can see here there can be train coming in both directions in this main line, and there can be a branch line coming and meeting with the main line. So there should be platforms, there should be passenger interchange facility like foot over bridges, and then there should be timetable because this branch line and coming and meeting here. And if a train coming and terminating at this point need to be taken, then the engine need to be reversed, right? Engine to be taken and fit on the the tail end. So for that there should be some arrangement for turning the engine. So for that either timetable to be provided or some facility should be there in the junction for facilitating those kind of train movements. So that is regarding the junction station. The next classification which comes under the functional characteristics, they are the terminal junctions or terminal stations. These are the stations at which a railway line terminates or the continuity of a line stops. They are known as terminal station. Okay. One of such example is Chennai, or you can see any number of examples in India like Howrah, Bombay. All these are examples of terminal stations. In such stations, facility like servicing of engines and vehicles, reversing of engines, and for marshalling vehicles are to be provided. Then additional arrangements for various sidings. Then there should be examination with hydraulic buffers. That is an important thing that to be provided at the end of each terminating line. Hydraulic buffers are also to be provided, and there should be adequate circulating area where the passengers can move around, because there the train lines are terminating at a particular point. Then in order to facilitate the movement of passengers, they should have adequate circulating area. Usually terminal stations, they need to handle a huge number of passengers. So that much facility should be provided there at the terminal station, like the circulating area should be adequate for the ticket office, restaurants, and also to provide other amenities for the passengers. The left side one show the layout of a terminal station. All these lines are coming and terminating at this terminal station, and then there should be adequate circulating area to be provided. here for the interchange of passengers or the movement of passengers basically. In the right hand side you can see this is the Chennai railway station. You can see here here all these railway lines are coming and terminating, so it's not going beyond the station. Whereas if you consider Kollam or Trivandrum, you can see the track will be running in both directions and the railway station is provided by the side of the track. Whereas in the case of terminal station, the station, they are usually aligned perpendicular to the track. Okay, so all these different railway lines coming from different directions, they are terminating at this terminal station. So this again shows the Chennai station only, the circulating area to be provided there for the huge number of passengers. In order to accommodate them, a large circulating area to be provided for meeting the requirements of passengers. An important element to be provided in the terminal station, they are the buffers. Okay, usually hydraulic buffers are provided, so buffers need to be provided thereby to prevent the overshoot of train into the platform. So the when the instructions are given to the locomotive pilot that they need to stop before the buffer, but somehow if they come in contact with the buffer, then the driver will be penalized or punished. Okay, so thereby buffers, they are the additional safety measure that is being provided at the terminal end of each line, so that the overshoot of train into the platform can be avoided. So there are different types of buffers depending on how they works. Buffer stop or a bumper, it's a device that is provided to prevent the railway vehicles from going past the end of a physical section of the track. This is a timber buffer stop. This one is the hydraulic buffer stop. The hydraulic buffer, they are used to slow the impact, and if they do not function, the train will overshoot into the platform. So the main function of this hydraulic buffer is to slow down the train. So this is an accident that happened in India, Mumbai, in 2015, where a local train crashed into a buffer on platform number 3 of Churchgate station in Mumbai, and 6 people were injured in this accident. So the hydraulic buffer could not slow down the train, and the train overshoot the platform. So that's how this accident occurred. So next let's discuss about the platform. Here you can see the persons are alighting from a train where there is a platform. So this picture actually shows the importance of platform. Platform, it's a raised level surface from where the passengers can board and alight the train, and it can also be used for loading and unloading of goods. So depending upon that, there are two types. One is a passenger platforms that are used by passengers, and there are goods platforms also. Passenger platforms, as the name suggests or name implies, this platform is meant for passengers who are using the train. The essential requirements of a passenger platform: the minimum width should be 3.66 meters, or the minimum width of 3.66 meter of platform should be paved, and the minimum length is 180 meter and desirable is 305 meter, and this length should be paved, and the ends of the raised platform should be in the form of a ramp with a maximum slope of 1 in 6, and there should be adequate arrangement of lighting on platforms for the efficient and safe running of trains at night. Then there should be adequate drinking water facility to be provided, and also sanitary arrangements to be made. Then the name of the stations should be written on an RCC board in bold letters. In India, we usually prefer to give that in 3 languages like Hindi, English, and regional languages. So these boards are placed at extremities of the platform and at right angles to the moving train. The height of the underside of the board platform or the board from the platform level is generally 1.8 meters. Then the clearance between the center line of the track and edge of the platform should be 1.676 meters, and this gives the details of the elevation of passenger platform with respect to the rail level. So with respect to the rail level will be at 0 meter, and with respect to that the lower level platform. So there are two types of platforms. One is a low level platform and another one is the high level platform. So if we consider with respect to the rail level, it is considered to be at the 0th meter. The lower level platform, it is 0.45 meter above the rail level, whereas the high level platform, it's in the range of 0.75 to 0.84 meter above the rail level. So that is how these two platforms, there are two types. One is a low level platform and high level platform. So depending upon the importance of the station, it can be either low level or high level. So usually if you go to hold station or flag station, they will be low level platform, whereas if you go to a junction or a terminal station, it will the high level platforms are provided there. So this is the example. This is a high level platform, and here this is a low level platform. So the boarding and alighting into a low level platform is a bit difficult compared to that of the high level platform, where the high level platform, they are coming at the same level as that of the engine wagon. So we don't have to, maybe one or two steps we need to climb, otherwise we are entering into the same level. Next is good platform. Usually they are provided at a higher level than the passenger platform for facilitating the easy movement of goods, loading and unloading of goods from the train. The height is 1.07 meter from the rail level. The minimum width required is 3.1 meter. It should be associated with goods shed weighing arrangement. The direct access from goods platform to goods sidings and marshalling yards should be there. So that is regarding the goods platform. An example of passenger platform. This is an example for goods platform. Station yards, they are the facilities provided for receiving, storing, sorting, and also to make up new trains after sorting. Then for the dispatch of train, there are three types of yards. One is the passenger bogie yard, which facilitates the safe movement of passengers and vehicles for their use. Then there is goods yard for receiving the train. Then for receiving the goods, loading and unloading of goods, the movement of goods, and also for the delivery of goods are being done in the goods yard. Then next is the marshalling yard. There are two types under marshalling yard: flat yard as well as gravitational yard. So depending on how these wagons are sorted, whether it is moving under gravity or it's moving by the help of an engine. So depending on that, it can be classified into flat yard and gravitational yards. So they are usually used to receive the train breakup and again to reform and dispatch the train. So that is regarding the station yards.